Controversial hot take. I think eventually there's going to be a return to office movement, and it's going to be driven by the people born after 2010, aka Generation Alpha. The fuck you say, OCG? Jesus Christ, I said it was a controversial hot take. Now hear me out for a minute. I've been at least partially remote for a long time, pre-pandemic, or PP as the kids say. In hybrid mode, I commuted to an office in New York from Ohio for 2 or 3 days a week, about 3 weeks a month. I really like PP hybrid. On the remote days, you plow through work, and on the in-person days, you have both good collaboration and good human connection time. Like asking Brenda if whatever the fuck her kid's name is still doing taekwondo or dance or college or whatever the fuck you told me last time we were both awkwardly waiting for the one at a time, grind it fresh coffee maker. But when I was in my 20s, all of my jobs were full-time in offices. Was it great? Of course not, except in the ways it was. I would now like to share the OCG theory on the current remote versus back to office standoff. First, because of the circumstances of why so many people suddenly started working remote, the overwhelming majority of the people working remote now are people who had already established their careers. This is just how lives work and math. There is no big controversial insight here, so cool your jets, Kelsey. Second, with the benefit of our new collective hindsight, the 5 days a week in-office model that these same people were required to comply with for maybe decades had many problems. 5 days of potentially arduous commutes, long hours, missed family time, no way to fit in simple chores or appointments during the weekdays, costs associated with trains, buses, or parking, paying for lunch and maybe breakfast and dinner, or stupid shit like owning more than one pair of khaki pants and 10 different shirts because you can't keep wearing the same shit every day when they can smell you. Clearly, at least since 2010 or so, when remote could have worked fine, this was a massive waste of our limited fucking resources and lifetime. And finally, when these same people consider a return to the office, for good reason, they can only imagine that same PTSD-inducing model. And for them, it's a shit ton of downside with almost zero upside. Now, let's take a minute and consider this from the minority perspective. Those people who have started careers since 2020. Yes, for a lot of these folks, it may seem like a lottery win to have avoided all of the horse shit required to put your meat in a seat at Acme Corp 5 days a week. Yes, in this new world, what would have previously been a massive transition, going from school and patchwork part-time jobs to your official 9-to-5 career, is now almost zero friction. Instead of trading near absolute freedom for being locked to a desk where everyone who walks by can watch your computer screen as you unsuccessfully battle your own ignorance for 8 or 9 hours a day, you're safely at home, naked below the waist, employing the magic procrastination phrase, "Can we take that offline?" a half dozen times a day, with no intention of following up. By any outside measure, you're living the dream. But, if you could humor me for a second, what about all the other good shit that happens when you're physically in the same place with other people? What about the hallway, elevator, and cubicle prairie dog conversations that help you get to know each other better, including random coworkers you don't work with every day? What about a few months of walking from the same train at the same time of day with your CEO, when your polite chit-chat has happened enough to uncover a shared interest in Premier League soccer or seeing Taylor Swift live or whatever other weird shit you're both into? What about those nights when you have to work late and your VP orders pizza and you learn about how he quit cage fighting after college because with a 4-9 record, he accepted the fact that he wasn't very good? And later, as you're trying to go to sleep, you're playing the evening back in your mind and realize, Fred, my 60-year-old paunchy and soft-spoken VP, had 13 cage fights. Holy fucking shit. Lunch and happy hour conversations are where you say things like, "Hey, this fuck Tabitha is pretty sharp and cool. Maybe I'll tell her my idea for a new startup and see if she wants to collaborate." Or, "Hey, Kiefer, the head of sales, is a misogynist fuck who has a blog about how women exist only to please him. I'm not sure how we should handle that, but fuck that guy, am I right?" Or, .NET would probably be the development environment of choice for serial killers. Well, then prove me wrong, Brian. When you're just starting out, the downsides of physically getting your ass to an office are far fewer because you likely don't have kids yet and you probably don't live way out in the suburbs. You may have dubious quality roommates, so getting the fuck out of the house a few days a week is fantastic. And this kind of time with your coworkers is absolutely invaluable for your own learning, for making people connections and friendships that will matter for your whole life, and most importantly, just creating awesome and memorable experiences. Yes, some companies are back 2 or 3 days a week in office, but I haven't heard of examples where it's solving the kind of problem I'm raising here. Either it's too flexible, like different groups in on different days, or with a lot of ability for people to exercise the nope, not today option, so the office is always mostly empty. If only a few people are going in on any given day, and they may get in a bit late or go home a bit early, no, you're not doing it right. So the old coder guy bet is that eventually the youngs are going to realize remote work or half-ass hybrid is fucking them, and they'll fix it. It won't be 5 days a week again because they're not idiots, but maybe a standardized Monday through Wednesday or Tuesday through Thursday in-office work week, or maybe just 2 days. Whatever they think will help them get more connected. Oh, I hear you creaking and groaning, Gen Xers, but either we A, get ready to pull our Spanx on and head back into the office for a few days a week to help the youths, or B, they'll just drop us near the reservoir and tell the police they found our front door open when it was time for our pills before dinner, so we must have wandered off again. Up to you.